January the 12th, 2019. Guys, you're looking at an article that came out today, and it goes along with what we've been talking about for the last 3 years, maybe 4 years now. But it's the grand solar minimum and the effect on the Earth's shields, which the Earth's shields protect us from harmful radiation. It says it keeps our water and atmosphere in place, but now it's acting up and nobody knows why. Now, with grand solar minimum coming, this is why, and they don't want to talk about it because it doesn't go along with their global warming narrative. But we're going into a grand solar minimum. It's already started. And this is important because of what they're talking about. It's kind of new science in a way, because you can't find a book or course on exactly what we're trying to put together in this picture. And to me, for the last 3 or 4 years, the pieces have fell together pretty fast. Let's look at this. It says planet Earth is alive. Deep beneath its skin, its life blood. Rivers of molten iron pulse around its core, and this mobile iron is what generates the magnetic field that causes auroras and keeps us alive. Guys, just like coil windings in an electric motor that they will generate a magnetic field. And if any of you guys have gotten our the G5 meters that we've been looking at for magnetic radiation and things like that, electromagnetic radiation, you can hold one of these meters close to an electric motor, any kind of motor that has an electric pulse, and you'll see it jumps very quickly. Same thing's happening inside the Earth. Now, and you think about this mobile iron, what they're calling these giant lava fields. Think about Hawaii last year. It says, but according to the science journal Nature, something strange is going on deep below. It's causing the magnetic North Pole to skitter away from Canada towards Siberia. And we've seen this going on, but now it has accelerated, guys. The magnetic pole is moving so quickly that it has forced the world's geomagnetism experts into a rare move. Now, this is a map. This is generated from the Geomagnetic Data Center. This is in Japan, guys. It says magnetic motion. The North Magnetic Pole is headed from Canada into Siberia and recently crossed the international date line. Its rapid motion plus other shifts in Earth's magnetic field have forced scientists to revise magnetic models that guide navigation. And you can see, guys, over into Canada here from 1900, and the charts actually go back much further than that. But at 1900, this was the geomagnetic top of the Earth, and you can see how it's drifted. Now, what happens? It throws off all of the navigation from satellites, guys, to the navigation from a compass, because if you're pointing magnetic north, it's not going to line up on the older maps. And we saw an acceleration with the great earthquake in Japan that caused the Fukushima disaster. We were watching it, and there's another model that shows the rotation points, and it was a right turn, a hard right turn on the magnetic pole. When the quake hit, it was so strong, that 9.0, and we saw an acceleration at that time, and we saw a wobble in the Earth. Why do I know that? Because in Florida and other places in the South, they had to repaint the navigation numbers on the magnetic navigation numbers, guys, on the airports themselves, on the runways. They had to do it after Fukushima. But this drift is throwing everything off. Now, you've got two poles. In the blue dot, guys, this is, if you look, that's the geographic North Pole, or the center of the top, but that doesn't control the magnetic poles. And you can see the red dots are the magnetic poles. And the Earth is kind of trapped in this magnetic field that's controlled by the sun. When it's stronger, the shields are stronger, less radiation pours in, and the volcanoes settle down. But during the grand solar minimums, that radiation pours in and again to the Earth's core, and this is a perfect example. And this rotating lava wheel is basically what this is, and again, migrating lava domes that changes the magnetic field as far as where the north and south poles are, where it's stronger on one side or weaker on one side. And it's been going on, but now it's accelerating faster. Now, On January 30th, and you notice today's article, it says delay due to the U.S. government shutdown. The World Magnetic Model, which governs modern navigation systems, is due to undergo an urgent update. This model is a vital component of systems ranging from geopositioning systems used to navigate ships through to smartphone trackers and maps. The current models we expected to be valid until 2020. But the magnetic pole began to shift so quickly, it was realized in 2018 that the model had to be fixed now. They realized that it was so inaccurate that it was about to exceed the acceptable safe limit for navigational errors. It says every year, and talking about fickle tides, geophysicists from the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, and the British Geological Survey do a check on how the Earth's magnetic field is varying. This is necessary as the liquid iron churning in the Earth's core does not move in a consistent manner. It says in 2016, for instance, part of the magnetic field temporarily accelerated deep under northern South America in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The shift was captured by satellites. They can detect through heat and the composition of the magnetic iron core where it's at. And if you remember, we did a video about that. And you can see it, there's related articles here. Something weird's happening deep beneath the South Atlantic. And they're seeing heat registers under Antarctic, large ones. But the movement of the North Magnetic Pole has been an object of study since 1831. Initially, it was tracked moving into the Arctic Ocean at a rate of about 15 kilometers each year. But since the mid-1990s, it has picked up speed. It is now shifting at a rate of 55 kilometers a year. They're going to say why the magnetic field is shifting so dramatically is unknown. It is known, guys. Now, you could throw that question on why does the sun go into grand solar minimums and cause the magnetic field to shift. That would be the question, but quit ignoring the obvious. Geomagnetic pulses like the one that happened in 2016 might be traced back to hydromagnetic waves arising from deep in the core. And the fast motion of the North Magnetic Pole could be linked to high-speed jet of liquid iron beneath Canada. This fast-flowing molten river appears to be weakening the magnetic influence of the iron core beneath North America because it's shifting. It says the location of the North Magnetic Pole appears to be governed by two large-scale patches of magnetic field, one beneath Canada and one beneath Siberia. Phil Livermore of the University of Leeds told an American Geophysical Union meeting the Siberian patch is winning the competition. And guys, this has shifted over the millennium, back and forth. As the global warming opens up more shipping lanes to the north of Russia and Canada, this presents a potentially deadly problem. Now here is where the great lie starts to come in. They can't do a science article anymore without the great lie. They won't be funded. Guys, it's really getting serious on social media, on any kind of truthful news. But as global warming opens up more shipping lanes, that's a lie, guys. The ships are freezing. They're having to send Coast Guard cutters and stuff in and helicopters to get the crew off of these ice-bound ships. It's a damn lie. They know it. And I shouldn't even read it. It's so stupid. Now, other scientists are starting to pay attention to it. On space weather, guys, I believe it was October 26th or 28th of 2018, just passed, they started putting the Thermosphere Climate Index on space weather. Now, today, on January the 12th, it's listed as cold at 3.22, and this is measured in watts. But the maximum back in 1957, October 57, was 49.4. You can see quite a difference. And what happens, you go through these solar cycles. Now we're going into a grand solar cycle, and it's the minimum. Now, the minimum recorded since they started doing this was in 2009. That was before we just went back into the solar maximum that we saw when we had all the solar flares over the last few years and stuff, guys, and now we're in a quiet time. But that was at 205. See that? We're at 322 now. And this measures the loss of heat because the Earth's shields are weak. The thermosphere is releasing the heat. They've got satellites that measure this. They're infrared and heat sensors on them, and they can see it being released through the thermosphere. So this is telling you it's global cooling, scientists. Your data proves it. Why do you keep lying? Is it because of money? Your global agenda? To bring the world together in one massive carbon tax and make everyone broken under the same national or international court? That's what it's about, guys. The global warming scam is one of the most dangerous there is, because it brings the world to its knees financially and under complete control of the one world order. But guys, we're watching this. You watch it. I'll do an update as soon as we find out where they're going to set anything and if they're going to have to change any airport designations. So heads up, be safe.